Hey, what's up, guys? It is Bill of the universe, and I'm driving home. I've got quite a whiles to go, so I thought, hey, let's make a video, right? These are pretty easy, pretty fun to make, right? I usually do a lot of editing in my videos, but these car videos, man, I just be putting my phone on and then pressing upload, right? I just get right to it. No editing, no nothing. So anyway, I wanted to do the difference between Vedic and tropical astrology. People do either or. People do both. The only thing I really have a problem with, honestly, is people saying how the other is trash, or they'll be like, "Don't listen to Vedic astrology," or "Don't listen to tropical astrology. It's bullshit." Like, honestly, I don't think there's any room for judgment when it comes to that. And both astrologies can benefit you greatly. And as someone who is familiar with both astrologies, I would say it will benefit you greatly to know both astrologies. Now, what are the key differences? Well, the main difference is, okay, first of all, let's talk about Western astrology, okay? Most people are in Western astrology, okay? Which is cool. It's not what I personally subscribe to, but that's what I started. Actually started for like 3, 4, 5 years with tropical astrology, and I heard about Vedic astrology here and there, but I really didn't get it. So in tropical astrology, they go based off of, whether you know it or not, you're basing your signs off of where the constellations were approximately 2,400 years ago. Okay, so 2,400 years ago, for example, if you were born October 1st, that would make you a Libra, right? Well, 2,400 years ago, on October 1st, the sun was always under the constellation of Libra. But it has since changed in the last 2,400 years. We have gone back approximately 27 degrees. That means for the last 500 years, for every time there has been an October 1st, the sun was actually under the constellation of Virgo, because it's gone back 27 degrees. Basically an entire sign, right? And so what you're doing when you're doing tropical astrology is technically you're basing it off of a position that is no longer there. Now, I'm not going to say that's wrong or right, okay? But I'm just telling you that's what it is. So today is July 28th. Okay, so normally that would be, I think, Leo. We would be under Leo season. We're in the last few days of July. But really, we are in Cancer season. I think we're in Pushya, or we might be on the brink of Aslesha. But anyway, yeah, we're still right in the middle of Cancer season. And it's if you look at today's July 28th, if you look at the go to heavensabove.com, right? That is an actual scientific telescope. And if you type in today's date, the sun will be under the constellation right in the middle of it, not towards the end. It'll be right in the middle of the Cancer constellation. But according to Western astrology, the sun should be on the brink of the Leo constellation, but it's not. It's still dead in the center of Cancer constellation. So that is why I personally like Vedic astrology, because Vedic astrology understands that throughout time, our perception of the stars will change and alter. And they actually have a equation in Hindi that helps them to always stay accurate with the perspective of the stars. And so that and in that way, if you're under Vedic, if you subscribe to Vedic astrology, you will never ever be out of date of how you're looking at the stars. Which is why I like Vedic astrology. Now, this is something Western astrology does that Vedic astrology does not do. Okay, now a lot of Vedic astrologers will kind of poo-poo the idea of Neptune, the outer planets, Pluto. What else was there? Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus. But modern astrology does include these outer planets. And the argument that Western astrologers make is, well, you can't deny that the planets are there. You can't ignore them. And that is true. Now, why did we ignore them back in the day? Because back in the day, like in the ancient Vedic astrology times, they were going by the planets that they could see with their naked eye, right? So they could only see as far as Saturn. But nowadays, they've got now you can see all the outer planets. And so, Western astrology is really good at calculating and analyzing these outer planets that really can't be denied, right? So it's really cool. I love to hear about what the Western astrologers say about the outer planets. When Uranus is transiting to something else, when Pluto is transiting to something else, I listen. You know what I mean? And even though I'm purely Vedic astrology, I do know my Western chart. You know, I completely understand. So, for example, in my Western chart, I am Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, all that in Virgo, right? But in Vedic astrology, I'm actually all Leo. All those planets are in Leo. And so I was like, okay. At first I didn't want to believe that because I used to not like Leos. But actually, in a way, I am very Leo because, first of all, I'm a musician. I'm a teacher. I'm very creative. I've been creative all my life. I only know music, you know. And the other thing I like about Vedic astrology, which is like, you know, Indian astrology, is that they don't just focus on the signs. They actually focus on the individual stars that make up the signs, which is why I love Vedic astrology. Because first of all, their perception of the stars are accurate. All right. Second of all, they don't look just at the sign as a complete thing. They look at the individual stars, which to me makes so much more sense because I feel like in Western astrology, you get two Virgos, and you're just like, but these are completely different people. And yeah, there's explanations like different moons, different this, different that. But I'm telling you, man, Vedic astrology is down to the fucking degree. Down to the degree. It matters. You get two Virgos. If you take two Virgos and go to an astrologer, a Vedic astrologer, they're gonna be like, first they're gonna ask you what degree is it, because they can't do much with if they don't know the degrees. Like literally, I mean, it is pretty fucking awesome. The other reason people love Vedic astrology is because it's very good at predicting the future stuff. I actually, as a religious person and a Christian person, I actually don't do that really, because I just think that you can never know the future. Now, I do think the planets have an influence on your future, so there is benefits to it, to looking at to looking at your chart for what's that word, divinatory purposes. But I believe that only God knows your future, right? But anyway, people do go to Vedic astrology for those purposes, and apparently they produce some very real results, which is cool. But I personally don't do that. What else? What else is the main differences? Yeah, that's really the main differences is the actual placement of the stars, and the fact that the stars themselves, right? We in Vedic astrology, they look at the very fixed stars that make up the constellations. And speaking of these fixed stars, right? There's actually, I looked up these stars, like Antares and God, I'm so bad at like Betelgeuse and fucking Like, there's too many stars. I know they're all their classic Hindi names, but I don't know their modern, like, scientific names. But anyway, these stars are not just ancient Indian, like, these stars have been used for so many different cultures and civilizations. These stars are so significant to almost every ancient culture and civilization. So these stars are really something else for us. They're so important for us. They kind of, and I can see why people use the stars to predict the future, because in a way they do. In a way they do, because they're so predictable, right? I mean, they're so predictable, so you can use that to predict what's going on, you know? I mean, the Aztec really fucking knew what they were doing, right? I mean, they would have temples, and they would have pools, reflecting pools, and not reflecting pools as in reflecting your thoughts, as in literally reflecting the sky. And they would look down instead of looking up at the sky. They would look down into the pools at night, you know, and map out things and use their calendars and stuff like that. So anyway, those are the main differences between Vedic and Western astrology. I personally suggest you should do both. They both have great things to offer, and please, if you sneer at the other one, please don't. And the other thing is, the other reason people don't like to use another astrology is because they feel a little insecure, kind of like they're having an identity crisis. Like, I'm so used to being a Scorpio, but now all of a sudden I'm a fucking Libra, and it's like, dude, explore it, and if the shoe doesn't fit, then don't wear it. Simple as that, you know. There's no crime, no harm in wanting to explore yourself and learn more about yourself, you know. So, all right, guys. Bye.